Hello students, welcome to class 11 education, and in the previous class we have already completed the first chapter of your lesson, isn't it? So today we will be dealing with the second unit of your textbook, that is aims of education, and it's in page number 27. Okay, so before we go into the lesson, let us try to understand the word aim. Students, what is aim? If I ask you, what will you say? So if I say aim, then the synonyms of aim can be desired outcome, goals, objective, or purpose, isn't it? For example, if I ask you, why do you go to school? Then you must be having some certain aims or purposes in life, isn't it? And then your parents also spend quite a lot of money to send you to school, college, right? So that you will become somebody in life and take care of them in their old age, isn't it? So that is how life goes on, right? And then nowadays, in the present times, education has become a part of our life. We cannot deny it, right? So aims of education, what are some of the aims of education? There are individual aim. So individual aim is to do with me as a person or you as a person. Why are you pursuing education? The second one is social aim of education. As we're getting educated, as we're graduating from colleges, then we become skilled and we do something for the society. So that is how we are contributing to the society as well as earning for ourselves, isn't it? So that is why the social aim of education is also important. And then there are some specific aims of education also. So as we go into the lesson, we will try to understand all those aims one by one, okay? And I will also want to tell you that, for example, if you're walking in the dark and then you don't have a torch or any form of light with you, and then you are totally blind, then you will be quite directionless, isn't it? And then you will not know where you're going, right? So without aim, education will also become purposeless like that, okay? So if you're going to a certain place, then you try to get the address, you try to get proper directions so that you will reach your destination, isn't it? So aims of education is very important, okay? So let us look into the necessity. Why is it necessary for education to have aims? So necessity for aims in education. So like I said earlier, it gives direction to education, okay? So that is one point that we can ponder upon. And then the outcome of education is also molded by aims of education. So why the outcome is shaped by aims of education is because, for example, every year the educational system, they produce a lot of graduates, skilled people like doctors, engineers, right? So where will those people go? Definitely they will not go to the jungle, but serve in the society itself, isn't it? So according to the demands of the system, we produce some certain outcomes, right? So that is the outcome of education, okay? So the educational system, the policy makers also provide education and knowledge to us with some certain outcomes, keeping in mind that certain outcomes, they also give education to us, okay? And another thing can be efficient functioning of school. So for example, in a certain school, if there is no aim or targets that are set by the principal or the teachers, then how will the school function, isn't it? So the school itself should also have some certain aims and goals, right? Then only the school can function better. For example, if the school have higher secondary section, the art and the science stream, then every year that particular school is able to produce 10th pass students and then 12 pass students, right? And then that is how the students will also pursue their further degrees likewise, or their vocation likewise, isn't it? So the school itself should have some certain aims, then only the school will also perform better, okay? And parents, public and the community also needs aim. So how for the parents? I told you earlier that our parents give us education with some certain purpose in mind, isn't it? So that is the aim of the parents, right? And then for the public also, public can be the public, or the community can be the society or the people around us, right? So they also have some certain aims when they give education to the children. So be it personal, at the personal level, be it for the parents or for the society also, we all need aim. Aim is a necessary for education. Okay, so that is how we can understand. Now let us go into the individual aim of education. So what is individual? Individual is you as a person and me as a person, right? So we all go to school, suppose in a classmate of 40 to 50 students, each one will have different aims and purpose in life, isn't it? All will not be similar, and then some will be good in studies, some might not be very good, or some might be outstanding, right? And for some students, even if they don't excel academically, they're very good in sports or co-curricular activities, right? So that is how individuals are very different and unique from one another, right? So we need to understand the individual aim of education. So you as a person, as you're pursuing class 11 arts stream, then what is your aim in life? You must ask yourself. Okay, so make the individual better. The individual aim of education makes the individual better. So see, if a certain person has an aim, after my class 12 I'm going to pursue this line, or maybe I will do my degree, and then I will try to give competitive exams and try to become an officer, and then contribute something to the society, and then make a career for myself also, right? So when you're thinking about the future, when you have a certain purpose in life, when you have a certain direction, then it makes you into a better person, isn't it? So that is why the individual aim is important. Okay, the second one is solve problems. So now if you become educated, if you get education, then what happens to you? You become smart, right? You become realistic also, you become reasonable, isn't it? And then your thinking also becomes very critical, isn't it? And students, we must know that life is not full of bed of roses, but sometimes we have to face problems also, right? And then sometimes we need to face challenges also. And sometimes there are certain points in life where we have to stand alone and we have to make the decision by ourselves, isn't it? So education, the individual aim of education will help us to solve the problems of life. Okay, and then it also helps us to become good citizens. Now imagine a society where the people are not educated or not learned, then that kind of society will be very barbaric or very uncivilized, isn't it? But now imagine a certain village or a colony or a society where many people are educated or skilled. Then definitely they will be good citizens, isn't it? Because they will be more refined, and then they will be more learned, they will have critical thinking, isn't it? So that is how the individual aim of education helps to become good citizens also. Okay, and then the next one is important human resource. So now what is a human resource? If you become educated and then you become, for example, I'll give you the example of a doctor because that is the easiest one. So you become a doctor and then you work in a hospital and then you take care of a lot of patients. That means you're taking care of the sick people, and then you're contributing something to the society, isn't it? And at the same time, you are a skilled person, so you're working and earning for yourself also, isn't it? So that is your career, right? So that is human resource. That means you are a very important human resource. That means you are important for yourself also and for the society also. And an important human resource will contribute something to the society, isn't it? So human resource, how does an individual becomes an important human resource? Through education, through training, through skill, isn't it? That is how you become expert in a certain field, isn't it? Example can be not only doctors but teachers, also officers, or the laborers that work in construction area, right? All those people are important human resource. They are not just staying lazily, but they're working and earning for themselves, and at the same time contributing for the society. So when you get education, then you become an important human resource. Okay. And the next one is you are able to support the society. So if you become an important human resource, then I told you that you are contributing something to the society, isn't it? So that is how, if many important human skilled human resources are there, then definitely they are contributing to the society and supporting the society, right? So that society or that civilization or that country will improve and move forward, isn't it? So that is how individual aim of education supports the society also. Okay. And then it gives freedom. So when you become educated, then you become very broad-minded, isn't it? And then there is a sense of freedom in you. That means you are able to take decisions of your own, right? So that is how the individual becomes free, and then free not only in their lifestyle but in their attitude, in their thinking, in their way of approaching things also. Okay, so that is it. And the next one can be self-expression. So what is self-expression? If you are thinking something, then you express it, right? So an educated person definitely will be able to express himself or herself better, isn't it? So that is why self-expression is also another feature of the individual aims of education. Okay, and then of course we have looked into the positive things of individual aim, right? So apart from the positive things also, there might be some negative or disadvantages of individual aim. Okay, so what can be some of the disadvantages? We are thinking that if a person is educated, he's having a good job and he's contributing to the society and earning for himself, then we think that there might be nothing wrong, isn't that? But of course there are some disadvantages, and those can be, for example, the first one can be, for example, you are a doctor, okay, and you work in a very big hospital, but you don't have compassion for your patients or the sick people. All you are thinking about is to earn more and more money. Then the individual aim of education is turning into a disadvantage, isn't it? So likewise in other jobs also, if we become very materialistic or if we become very selfish, then the purpose of the individual aim of education will not be fulfilled. Okay, in fact it will turn into a disadvantage. So a person, an individual or an educated mind must be able to think about the disadvantage also, so that he will not commit those mistakes. Okay, and he will not be selfish. Now let us go into the social aim of education. Now what is social? Social definitely would mean the society, isn't it? So by getting education, what does the society expects from us? So let us try to understand. According to John Dewey, he talks about social efficiency. Okay, so as you do your, for example, if you do your honors in education, then you will learn more about social efficiency. Okay, so according to the theory of social efficiency, I'll try to explain to you in short. In the American and British society, this social efficiency came about as a result of Renaissance and Industrial Revolution. Okay, how? Because after Renaissance and Industrial Revolution, the technological advancement, the scientific advancement bombarded in the world, isn't it? So many people were getting a lot of ideas, industries were being developed, right? So according to social efficiency theory, I as an individual or you as an individual is not is not alone, or you're not free from the society, but you must contribute something to the society. Okay, so as you get education, as you get training, or as you become skilled, you must contribute something or the other to the society. And mind you, because of the Industrial Revolution, there were many industries coming up, right? So the industries needed a lot of workers, isn't it? So social efficiency means that, you know, those individuals, those people will not be people or human beings anymore, but they'll work like machines. Okay, so social efficiency has some advantages and some disadvantages. So what are the advantages? The society became very advanced, the economy was also rising, right? But in the midst of all that, the individual freedom was getting lost. Okay, but as you do your honors, or like I told you, as you go to your higher classes, you'll know more about this. And then another social aim of education can be civic efficiency. So social efficiency and civic efficiency are related with one another. Okay, and you know, when we talk about the social aim, then if you understand the concept of social efficiency, then all the other things will be related with this concept. Okay, now for vocational efficiency also, like I explained to you, in social efficiency, the vocation or the job that you're doing, you have to be skilled or expert in that field, isn't it? Then only you can contribute something to the society, isn't it? So getting education means the individual is becoming skilled in something, and then he is doing the work, or contributing in the process, contributing to the society. Okay, that's how we can understand. And then another feature can be, it helps to become an individual to become patriotic also. So now what is patriotism? Patriotism would mean love for one's own country, isn't it? So I as an individual, or you as an individual, we all are Indians, right? So by becoming educated, by enhancing our career, we contribute to the Indian economy or the Indian society, isn't it? That means we are responsible citizens, isn't it? So that is it. And then this concept of patriotism we can understand by examples of some countries. For example, the Japanese and Nazi regimes in Japan as well as Germany. So if you have studied history, or maybe you must be doing it in your class 11-12 about world history, the world wars, or contemporary history, isn't it? So in that, we understand that during the First and the Second World War, many soldiers were recruited in Japan and Germany, and you know, they participated in the war representing their nation, isn't it? And then many soldiers died also, right? But the soldiers, they were not afraid to die, because you know, they were contributing something to the country, isn't it? So love for one's own country. And then we can understand about the Chinese Revolution that occurred in the 1960s also. Because of that, now we understand that the Chinese economy is very rich, isn't it? So all those are related to social efficiency. Okay, and then Mahatma Gandhi also talks about social efficiency. By, you know, becoming skilled or becoming an expert in a certain field, we must contribute to the progress of India. That's what he said. Okay, and then here also there are some disadvantages of the social aim of education. So what are those? In the midst of, you know, contributing to the society, like I said in the social efficiency theory, the individual, the self-expression, or the, you know, the individual aim of education get lost, because all the contributions are taken by the society, isn't it? So there is no room for self-development. So that can be a disadvantage for the social efficiency theory, okay, or the social aim of education. Now, by trying to understand about individual and social aim, we have understood that, of course, it is very contributing to the self and the society, but it has some disadvantages, isn't it? So how can the disadvantages can be coped about, or can be blended together? Synthesis of both. So we must do a synthesis of both the individual and the social aim. That means both the individual and the social aim of education should go together. Then only it will contribute to the self also as well as the society. Okay, so those are the individual and social aims of education, and for the remaining part of the lesson we will continue in the next class. Thank you.